Ink-a-dink, 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 ink-a-dink. Wow!
Hey, Walter. I don't want to put you on eating though, do I? Now you know, Basil, this was a gift given to me by Kristen soon after we met. And she brought me this to the house that she eventually joined me at before we moved here and took up living quarters in your recording studio. And it's a rain stick. And apparently there's some dust. It's got some seeds in it, and that's where the sound comes from. But it's got some dust in it because whenever you let it go, there are a couple of holes here because they're have to get in order to allow. I don't know quite how it works, but it throws off a little dust.
It's dusty on the inside.
Dusty on the inside? Okay, that explains the dust on the inside. It's dusty on the inside. So, blessed Sunday morning to you. Welcome to Basil BuddhaCat Presents, and I'm David Stevenson, Basil's co-host, interpreter, and chief gopher. And Walter, you coming back up? Yeah, she got her 40-second work weekend Friday night. And besides, you can't really seem to even find a spot to dust on this table. It's fairly well covered with stuff. And no, it's not a real rat. It's a fake rat. So it's not. The house isn't rat infested, at least, because that would take away from Walter's 40-second work week, chasing down a rat. I mean, she gets a mouse occasionally, but. So at any rate, Friday night, we talked about a few things. We talked about a social media called Yik Yak, and I guess Basil wants to, he said, said, I'll speak for myself, thank you. Okay, go ahead. Said Yik Yak, as he explained somewhat Friday night, is a social medium. It's not exactly Facebook, because Facebook is traceable. It's not like any other social medium which is traceable. The authors of Yik Yak, the creators of it, wanted everybody the ability to speak their mind. And makes sense, little First Amendment freedom. Problem is that you get people saying things that are just outlandishly disgusting and despicable. They'll not poke fun at, but they'll ridicule, bully. They'll do all the kinds of stuff that these guys should have seen coming when they came up with this. And in fact, their company, which is now valued high enough, it's valued in the hundreds of millions of dollars, this Yik Yak enterprise. And what generally will cause a company to be worth a lot of money, and in fact they've leveraged a couple, I think it was $162 million loan off of the value of their company. They were given a loan of a huge amount of money because the company was valued by a company valuator or something like that. Normally the way you make money, like they do on YouTube and Facebook and the other social media, is they sell advertising. And the advertising pays them handsomely because when you're on Facebook, you're constantly being bombarded with ads and constantly being asked questions from companies that are trying to figure you out and figure out how better to market you, how better to sell their crap to you. Likewise, YouTube, constant advertising. You want to watch a song or a video on YouTube or a Basil BuddhaCat show on YouTube. You have to, and we are on YouTube, by the way. Kristen 40, Kristin 40, the number 40, and Kristen, the II. This is how you remember. 2 I's. And from there, the show goes on to Basil BuddhaCat on Facebook. That's his Facebook page, and it's there also. And a gratuitous shout out to our other show, my other show, Progressive Soup, which is on YouTube. Kristen 40, Kristen II 40, and from there on to Facebook. I think you can find it if you go Facebook Progressive Soup. I think it'll show up, and you can watch. We've got about each of us, Basil and I. Basil's I think he's up to 80 episodes that he's been able to put up onto his Facebook page and onto YouTube. And of course, these 2 episodes, Friday night and Sunday, will be 81 and 82. And likewise, Progressive Soup's about the same thing. We get the new ones up there as they happen, so you can watch them without having to turn on the TV and watch Comcast. Which, by the way, you really ought to watch it on Comcast, actually, because Comcast is very gracious. Dave and Candy are very gracious to provide us studio time for Progressive Soup, and they provide us with the editing suite in order to edit Basil BuddhaCat Presents! Exclamation point. I did it really well that time, didn't I? Basil said, said, not too bad. So kudos to Comcast, kudos to Dave King and Candy Timniev. Great folks. Matter of fact, Comcast has a ton of shows, and some of the other local cable outlets have some pretty fine shows too. We're also circulated onto Cablevision, which emanates out of Norwalk, Connecticut, and covers pretty much the entire coast from Greenwich up to Bridgeport, or Stratford maybe also, and up as far as Weston and Reading, and Comcast has 3 principal towns. It has the city of Danbury, and it has also 2 towns, Bethel and Ridgefield. Now, as of about a week ago, we signed both shows up to be on Charter, which is located in Newtown, Connecticut. Yes, the Newtown, Connecticut. And Charter covers a lot of little towns that range far and wide from Brookfield, Oxford, Southbury, Kent. It's got a lot of towns. I'm not quite sure. We don't get Charter, so I really don't know what towns it covers exactly, but it covers a lot of towns, and that's our 3rd cable outlet. And of course, we've got, as I mentioned, YouTube and Facebook. So we're out there. You can find us 24/7 on the internet. So back to Yik Yak, and so people do some and say some pretty incendiary things on Yik Yak. Little pranks like, I'm going to bring a gun to school and shoot the place up. That's happened a fair number of times. And with the fact that they built these firewalls around this website, this Yik Yak.
Dear Diary, the authorities have removed the pair of black pants from the couch. There is no longer any place for me to sleep. I have vomited 3 times in protest, but there is no sign that anything will change. My only other hope for rest is on the computer keyboard, which is nearby, but sadly no one is currently using it. I will wait. Dear Diary, my food dish is now only half full. It is obvious that I will soon starve to death. I have repeatedly tried to draw attention to my predicament with the authorities, but they are clearly either stupid, deaf, or just cruel. This may be my last entry. Dear Diary, it has come to my attention that the authorities have 2 hands, but seem to have made it the sadistic policy only to pet me with one of them at a time. Half of love is just low, which is how I feel. My spirit is breaking. Dear Diary, I've decided to plead with the authorities to rub my belly. I think it'll do me good in my current condition. I would like to receive 2 rubs exactly. A 3rd one and I will bite the shit out of them as per protocol. Wish me luck. Dear Diary, the water dish continues to vex me. The authorities seem to taunt me with this cruel liquid that has neither smell nor distinguishing visual markings. A sad anniversary. This is the 900th day that my nose has been unintentionally wetted. Dear Diary, yesterday I put in a simple request regarding the door to the garden, but seemingly out of sheer spite, the authorities refused to hold the door open long enough for me to decide whether to go outside, or inside, or outside, or inside. Dear Diary, the authorities have punished me for taking a crap on the living room floor. This despite my efforts to distribute the litter evenly throughout the house. I am convinced that they are madmen, devoid of reason. Dear Diary, the squirrel was back again today. It mocks me. I will try and release my mind from this torment and groom myself for 4 hours. Dear Diary, I have been stalking an insect on the wall for the past 3 days now. All of my attempts to capture it have been thwarted. However, today, on further inspection, I found out that the insect was in fact a thumbtack. There is no logic in this place. Dear Diary, it is 3 in the morning. The authorities have closed the door to the bedroom. I can only assume that they have forgotten about me and have left me here to die. As a last resort, I will stand post for the rest of the night and sing the song of my people in hopes that they rescue me. Dear Diary, when the authorities poop, I have tried to poop in the bathtub litter box with them in a show of solidarity. I have yet to experience any gratitude. Dear Diary, my attempts to destroy the terrible plant have all been for naught. Somehow, almost as if by some evil magic, a new one has appeared in its place. I will have to start over now. Like Sisyphus, I am bound to hell. It has occurred to me today that my dearest human has never sniffed my backside. I must bond with him in different ways. Like my father always used to say, if you want someone to look you in the eye, make sure that your mouth smells exactly like your butt. It's difficult to argue with that logic. And so I have eaten some rotting earthworms in preparation for my dear human's return, as well as one of his socks. Dear Diary, it's not so much that I miss my testicles. I know it's a rite of passage in our pack, and I'm sure that my dearest human has had his removed as well. But when that one bulldog comes to the dog park and parades his testicles around, I can't help but notice how Ginger looks at them. I love Ginger. To be fair, I will admit, he has a fine-smelling butthole. Dear Diary, the cat is a curious, magical creature. It's as if a teddy bear mated with a cactus, and it's much less fun to play with than it would appear. And yet it poops delicious candy into a box of pea-flavored sprinkles. Dearest human guards these treats jealously, often harvesting them into a barrel. But I will admit that I sneak one from time to time. They are delicious. Forgive me. Dear Diary, this is the 733rd day that I have tried to test what Cat swore to me was true. Namely, that if you hump anything long enough, you will find a vagina. So far, the results have been mixed. My dearest human's leg vagina has not revealed itself. However, I'm almost certain that I felt something on the brown teddy bear. More tests are needed. Dear Diary, I have yet to see my dearest human poop anywhere. I suspect he may not know how. I have resolved to try and teach him when we patrol the neighborhood each day in search of men with hats and beards. It is embarrassing to do in public, but he must learn somehow. I fear he will die of constipation if I don't succeed. Fortunately, my dearest human seems to show some interest and is now collecting my feces in a small bag. Soon. Dear diary, I must be more careful when licking my genitals. My dearest human seems sensitive about it, most likely because he's incapable of licking his own. As always, I am in awe of his ability to be so noble, despite what I can only imagine are filthy, filthy genitals. He hides them every day. Dear diary, today I have added a 4th circle to my pre-pooping ritual. As before, the first circle is to verify that I do in fact need to poop. The second is to check for gremlins and men with beards and hats. The third is to re-verify my need for pooping, and now the 4th is to honor my newly deceased toy. Stuffed llama, rest in peace. I didn't mean to shake your head off. Dear diary, I told the cat about how my dearest human has promoted me, teaching me to shake so I can participate in his business dealings. However, Cat pointed out that I'm often unaware of what I'm shaking on. For example, when I shook the neighbor's hand this morning, I have no clue what I agreed to. None. Cat says this is how the devil buys souls. I will pee on the bed for comfort. Dear diary, my dearest human asked me where the ball was when it was clearly in plain sight. I brought it over, and he threw it even farther away, then asked me where it was, and was very happy when I brought it again. Perhaps a metaphor? Dearest human leaves each day, and I am happy when he returns. Wait, maybe he is the ball, and I am dearest human. This is too much. I must pee on the bed.
Stuff. Too fast. Oh, my lilies are going gangbusters. Look at that. Those. Go in there. B-bomb. B-bomb's going bonkers. But lilies. Going fucking apeshit. Lilies. And the butterfly bush is coming out. And where is it? There we go. Oh, too close. And there it is. My new son. Honeysuckle's going bonkers as well. Look at that. And it smells as good as it looks.
Hon, I'm going to tell you something that I am going to do relative to the job. You've heard of the Family Leave Act, right?
Yeah.
Where you can take up to 12 weeks a year, every year, to take care of family members. And all you need to know from the doctor. I'm going to be doing that every year.
Ozzy. Ozzy. Hi, Roz. Sorry, I'm just trying to film without any commentary.
Hey, Walter.
Hey, Walter.
They say they'd rob your grandma blind on Wall Street, on Wall Street. Fritter her away her Medicare on Wall Street. And Pharma Oil and their pet fox don't care if she lives in a box, so long as they wear platinum jocks on Wall Street, on Wall Street. Meow.